When we began our training and were learning how to do the black hat dance, the repetitive arm and leg movements made you very stiff. So stiff that it would be really uncomfortable to sit cross-legged for the prayer sessions. The costumes were very heavy and difficult to wear, but if you didn't wear them, you'd look too puny. You wouldn't look the part, so there was packing to beef you up. You'd get very stuffy inside the mask. The performance would last 3 hours, and the whole affair would be at least 3 hours.
At the end of the ceremony, a cathartic fire purification rite is performed to ensure that the last traces of evil are dispelled.
Now you can see they are heating up oil in a cauldron. Later they'll add home or alcohol. In this ritual, you fill a human skull with alcohol, and then you pour it into the boiling oil.
Tibetan Buddhism differs from other types because it has its roots in the traditions of the earlier Bon religion. Therefore there's a belief in gods and celestial beings, but also there are various traditions that involve all Tibetan society in the practice of Buddhism. Now Tibetans believe that their prayers can be given added power by being conducted by means of a prayer wheel. Here's a prayer wheel. Walking round the wheel means that my prayers have the power, all the written prayers inside this wheel. Incredible. Also, there are flags and beads which have a similar thing, prayers through repetition. And the mantras are used to really gain merit and to help one on one's path to enlightenment. Prayer wheels can contain up to a mile of written prayers. They are symbolically recited with every turn. Pilgrims earn merit and concentrate their minds on the mantras they are reciting as the wheel turns. The circular 5-mile walk which surrounded Lhasa was known as the Linkor. On the festival days, pilgrims would start walking early in the morning. Artemisia, scrub rhododendron, and juniper twigs were burnt, and the air would be filled with incense. A new Linkor has been created at McLeod Ganj. It surrounds the Dalai Lama's own residence up there. This replaces the sacred path lost at Lhasa. Pilgrims now walk it. This is a particularly busy day. It's a festival day. These days, I say, they just walk it. In the past, pilgrims would prostrate themselves along the route, and that was done rather like this. One simply stops, says a prayer, and then one measures one's length on the ground, right way down to the bottom and up again. And so one goes, right around the path. I put my feet where my head was and down I go again. Difficult process, but it was to show respect and compassion for all thinking beings, to remove negative forces and to gain merit, to help one on one's path to enlightenment. Jampa Chodron was a young nun living in Lhasa at the time.
This is the Linkor, the long circuit just beyond Chokpuri Hill. The shot is taken of the section just below Chokpuri Hill. There used to be people carving mantras on stones, making clay statues, and many places where you could make incense offerings. There would be many people walking the Linkor. Down here, there would be people doing the half sideways prostrations as well as the forwards prostrations. I didn't manage to do any sideways prostrations, but I managed to do one circuit during the forward prostrations. Here they're making the descent. Sometimes when you're prostrating here, you would nearly fall down. I did a lingo circuit. I took 6 days and morning. In the midday sun, you couldn't do the prostration, so you would have a rest. Friends would bring you a meal, so you would have a lunch break. People would normally get up early and start at dawn.
Jampa Sultram and Tenzing Choni Tara also did the Lingkor circuit.
When they used to do the old Lingkor circuit, it used to take about 2 hours. But during Buddhist festivals, people weren't satisfied with merely walking it. They would prostrate themselves all the way around. So, as we were talking about this yesterday, it turns out that we both happened to have done the full body-length prostrations and made the full circuit. It would vary how long it would take to do the full body-length prostrations, depending on the individual. The fast ones would do it in 3 to 4 days. Others might do it in short stages, so it would take about 7 to 8 days to do the full circuit. Wherever you ended the day, you'd leave a mark, and then you'd resume from there the next day. He said yesterday he did it in 4 days. The reason for doing the prostrations is to accumulate merit and to cleanse yourself of your negativities. It's an entirely spiritual activity.
Now here are some pilgrims who have come from villages far away. They have come for the Malam festival. You can see that they are carrying their provisions in bags on their back. There were people coming from all different directions. Some would beg, some would offer prayers, and some would give alms to the beggars. One was free to do what one wished. You would give soup, tea, or money to unmarried. There is somebody ladling out some tsamba for the beggars.
On the day to celebrate the Buddha's enlightenment, the Lingkor is especially crowded. Many people are begging for alms. The giving of money, food or tea was very much part of the pilgrims' practice, and it still is today. These days in Ganj, the beggars are Indians, and the pilgrims giving money are Tibetan refugees. On festival days, the cabinet and senior civil officials also walked the Lingkor, but they would get very hot in their heavy ceremonial costumes, and so would stop off the British mission for a cup of tea. Historically, the British and Chinese were officially represented in Tibet. British pressure to allow trading had led to the establishment of a new British trade mission in 1937, and in the mid-1940s, a Chinese representative arrived in Lhasa. Relations with the British were cordial, while they were more tense with the Chinese. Dr. Sun Lien Shen, seen here being welcomed by Jigme Tering, the Tibetan finance minister, was a representative of the Chinese nationalist government. At home, China was in the midst of a bloody civil war between the nationalists and the communists. Life in Lhasa continued according to ancient custom and practice. The Dalai Lama lived in the potala during the winter and the Norba Linka during the summer. Twice a year, the civil and religious hierarchy accompanied him on his move from palace to palace. Identified by the peacock-feathered umbrella which accompanied his sedan chair or palanquin, the whole population of Lhasa watched silently for a glimpse of His Holiness.
At
the front of the procession, there would be the lower rank officials, and they would get higher and higher the nearer they got to His Holiness's palanquin.